Why so serious, son? It's DJ Joker in the house.
Hey, this is Cara McCutchen, lead vocalist of Canadian thrash band NAITAKA, and we are listening to J0KeR's Electric-Circus on Metal Messiah Radio!
Horns up, my metal friends. Welcome to another Friday night interview edition of the Electric-Circus Radio Show, brought to you by MetalMessiahRadio.com. We are your metal music messiah. On the line with me here tonight, we got all members of the band NAITAKA. NAITAKA is a female-fronted band by ex-Mortillery vocalist Cara McCutchen. The production of the debut EP NAITAKA began in May of 2020, and it was released recently here in 2021 on February the 12th, physically and digitally. Welcome to the Electric Circus Radio Show here at MetalMessiahRadio.com. Please introduce yourself. Who do we have with us here tonight for this interview?
Hey, this is Cara.
I'm Troy. I'm the lead guitarist.
Yeah, I'm Cara, the vocalist.
And I'm John. I play bass.
Okay, you guys have a new EP that's out that was released February the 12th, 2021. Please tell us about the new EP. What's it all about?
Cara, you want to take this one?
Yeah, it's a 4-song EP. We recorded it mostly in our hometown, and then we sent it out to Edmonton to a studio there to have it mastered by a friend of ours. It's pretty fast and kind of some old school sounding riffs and stuff in there, and yeah, we're pretty stoked about it.
So your band NAITAKA is a very interesting name for the band. How did you come up with it? And it looks and sounds like Japanese, or does it come from something totally different than I'm thinking?
Yeah, actually, it's actually an indigenous name of a local legend here, Ogopogo. It's a lake monster, and actually we were sitting around trying to think of a band name, and we all kind of with where we come from, and John, I think, is the one that suggested NAITAKA. Right, John? I think you were the one that brought that name up. And so it's basically a cryptid called, the common name is Ogopogo, and it's pretty big local legend around here.
Your band has a new EP out. We just talked about the new EP, the self-titled NAITAKA. Very satisfying thrash metal that definitely blends with traditional heavy metal. The results are clear to see on this debut EP, which is sharp, memorable, and aggressive, set immediately to likable songs. I love this EP right away already. It grew on me fast. Is NAITAKA a project band, or are you guys taking it further as a full-time band with touring the world?
Thank you. First of all, we actually are pretty fast-paced moving. Like we have more than enough songs to record a whole new full-length album actually right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not too sure about touring exactly. We're definitely going to be playing some shows. Like, it's funny because we've kind of done everything backwards, of course, because of COVID. Like, normally you play some shows, you kind of get a following, and then you record and release an album, but we kind of couldn't do that. We did everything totally backwards, so we haven't even played a show live yet, which is so bizarre. But so we're definitely, as soon as we're able to, we're going to start playing shows, kind of just see where that goes. I mean, I'd love to definitely do some touring again, but it's just really hard to see. It's really hard to see that far in the future with COVID right now,
How long did it take you guys to record the brand new EP by NAITAKA? And which studio did you guys record the music in? Please explain your creative process on developing this EP.
I'll talk about maybe the recording of it. It was kind of recorded all over the place. So it took, I don't know, I'd say probably a few months, just because it was kind of pieced together. So our former, a guy that we were jamming with anyway, he recorded the drums for us, and then Troy and Cody recorded their own guitars at home. And actually Cody did the bass as well. Cody's not in the band anymore, but he did the bass and the guitar for this album. And then I recorded with a friend in Kamloops, and then just at a home studio, and then we sent everything off to be mixed and mastered to the studio that I've used quite often in Edmonton. So that's really kind of the recording process that took place. I mean, usually you go to a studio and do everything, but that just kind of wasn't the case for this album. So it took a little bit longer to get those 4 songs down that we wanted to, but it turned out okay, and we're pretty happy with it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe Torch.
Yes, Carrie, you was in the band.
On...
You was in the band Mortillery for years. What happened to Mortillery, and what made you want to start up another band, this new band, NAITAKA?
Mortillery, well, I moved, first of all. I moved to a different province.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mortillery, we haven't really called it quits. We're just kind of saying, I guess the word is hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely, I don't see us recording a new album anytime soon or anything like that. But I mean, who knows? Maybe we'd get together and play a show. Hopefully, maybe. But I did move, and in fact, for the last year of it, I was flying in and out for shows and jams to play with those guys. But yeah, everybody just kind of had other things going on. Like Alex and Miranda started a band, and Kevin, he's having a baby, and Kent was traveling all over the world. So it was kind of, yeah, it wasn't like we just, said we're done or anything like that. It just kind of, life kind of led us in different directions, I guess.
The latest EP by NAITAKA, the self-title, are you still writing about some of the same subjects as you did in Mortillery, or are you going in a totally different direction as far as the songwriting and style and the topics and themes of the songs?
Lyric-wise, I'd say it's, like, I'm kind of all over the place. Like, I don't really write about a certain thing. I think I have, like, a whole bunch of different subjects that I do kind of talk about all the time. And I've been doing that for, probably 15 years or so. I think in my headspace, I'm the same. Like, I'm kind of writing about, anything spooky, insects, like just creepy, weird stories, cryptids. I write a lot about cryptozoology, and yeah, just kind of all over the place. I'm not, at Mortillery, the early days, I did a lot of like apocalypse writing and stuff like that. I'm not really doing that too much anymore, but I'd say it's about the same. Just like, it's just as random. My Mortillery was pretty random when I wrote for them. So yeah, so for this, it's kind of the same.
Okay, next, let's play a track from the new EP by NAITAKA. Let's spin track number 1, Conqueror with Vengeance. What can you tell us about this song before we play it, Cara?
It's pretty thrashy, actually. It's a really fun song to play. I love jamming this one. It's got really good energy, and yeah, it's just a fun track to rock out to.
All right, my metal friends who are tuned in to the Electric Circus here at Metal Messiah Radio, you might want to crank this up. Yeah, here is Conquer with Vengeance by NAITAKA. And we will be right back with Cara McCutchen of NAITAKA. Crank it! right, welcome back to Metal Messiah Radio and the Electric Circus Radio Show here at Metal Messiah Radio, and we're back with members of the Canadian thrash metal band NAITAKA. The latest EP, NAITAKA, who did the cover art for the EP? I think it's outstanding cover art and the logo there. Please explain.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was actually a friend of mine from Edmonton that he just does art. You know, he gives it away to his friends, and so his name is Dennis Thompson, and he has actually a page. It's called Demonic Design on Facebook. He's got like hundreds and hundreds of album worthy art on there actually, and yeah, he's just a super guy, and yeah, hooked us up. So.
What has any reviews on the EP? How's it going so far? What are some of the bloggers and reviewers saying about the EP so far since its release?
Troy, you want to answer that one?
So pretty much it's been mostly positive. A lot of keywords coming out is fast, aggressive, just like fast-paced music. So we, it's just pretty much kind of old school thrash mixed with like some power metal, and it was made that old school like Judas Priest almost kind of style, and it's just it's been a fairly positive review so far.
Who does all of you guys lyric videos on YouTube? Who edits and puts those up?
That was actually another one of my friends from Edmonton as well. His name is Evan, and he's in a band called this punk band called Real Sickies that they're pretty good friends of mine. So Evan also, the Real Sickies band, the guy in Edmonton who did the editing and the mastering of our album, also plays drums in that band. It was just kind of one of our friends. We needed a lyric video for something, and I reached out to him and he did it up for us.
Awesome. Please, Cara, tell us how it all started for you, a young Cara McCutchen. How did you get involved? How did you get into music and made you want to be a lead vocalist and be in a kick-ass thrash metal band?
It started for me, I guess the first thing that really happened for me was I was probably about 13 or so, and my cousin was in a death metal band in Ontario, and he just randomly sent me all this vinyl. There was like Annihilator and Twisted Sister and Judas Priest and all these bands, and so that's really how I started listening to metal. And then years went by. I'd go to like pawn shops and buy tapes. I remember buying all these tapes from pawn shops and like Value Village. I'd find like Grim Reaper and Halloween and all these things, and I was just like obsessed with it, really. And then when I started a band, a friend of mine who was older than me, he was about 10 years older than me, who was right into that kind of thrash stuff too, was a drummer, and we were hanging out lots, and I'm like, we should just start a band. And I'd never sang before in my life, and he's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so we did it, and that's how Minax started. That was my first band back when I was, I don't know, about 19 maybe, and that's really it. I just kind of went for it, and I probably should have taken some singing lessons or something, but I didn't. So we just kind of we just started jamming, and it wasn't very good at first, and it took me a while to find out what I was doing, but I just kept with it, and that's really how it started for me.
Cara, what do you do to keep your voice up to par, and you got any special exercises you do that to keep your voice sounding like it does, great as it is?
Well, I try not to drink too much. That's one thing. Just not partying. Like if I'm playing a whole bunch of shows in a row, that's kind of the biggest one. But really just jamming. Like I don't really like do anything at home or anything like that. I just in the past few years, I've really been learning how much warming up is important. So usually before jams and such, I'll do a little bit of warming up, like 20 minutes or something in the car on my way to practice. But that's about it, really. I don't really, I probably should be doing something more, but I guess I just am unaware of what I should be doing, and I don't really do anything else, I guess.
Awesome. Could you please tell us what do you do outside of being in the band for like a job? I know, Cara, you used to be a welder before you became a musician. Tell us a little bit about that. Yes, I did my homework.
I'm a journeyman welder. I welded for about 8 years or so, and then I went back to school and I got a whole bunch of other tickets and actually ended up doing welding inspection and examination for about 7 years or so. And then the oil crash happened is what really happened there. So that's why I moved, actually, because it was kind of, I had an opportunity, and I moved to a different province, and I got married and had a baby, and I haven't been welding since, because it's very difficult to find a part-time welding job now. So I just kind of do random stuff now, but I think I'd like to get back into it. I do really miss it.
Please tell us about the music scene coming up for you in the early days. Name some of the bands you went to see perform live that inspired you to do what you're doing today.
Oh, well, the first concert I think I ever went to was Bad Religion, actually, and I was really young then, and in my hometown, I grew up in kind of a small suburb kind of area. There was a lot of underage punk shows happening, so most of the shows that I went to when I was younger were punk, and that's kind of where my punk influences come from, I guess. And then, once I got older, I started being able to, once you could get the bar, I started going to a lot of underground metal shows in Edmonton. There was an old venue called the Fox and Hounds, and I started becoming friends with people, and it was just, like everyone's bands that were playing. So it was actually a lot of death metal at the time in Edmonton. That's pretty much what all the bands were, really. So yeah, I guess that's when I started going to concerts, I guess.
Please tell the listeners about the newest members of the band, and how did y'all all get together, and what's the special gifts and talents that they bring into this band?
John or Troy, do you guys want to answer that?
Yeah, like, I don't know, a lot of us now are kind of all original members. It was Cara originally posted a thing on Facebook asking if there's any musicians in the area that would be interested in starting a band. And then I replied. I was like, hey, I play metal. I haven't been in a band in a little while, so we just got together, started jamming a bit. It wasn't long after that John came by, and then we were jamming for a bit, and then Tyler, our drummer, showed up, and then pretty much since then we have had another guitar player who played on the EP, but things didn't work out, creative differences and stuff. So, and then pretty much, yeah, we're kind of all just the original members.
This is a question for Cara. Tell me about your favorite performance venues that you did before, and do you have any cool stories from them that you would like to talk about since you started in Mortillery back in the day?
Like playing live, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. I would say definitely the highlight for me was playing in Europe, of course. Probably the coolest story, somewhere in Spain after a show, and bus call was late. I think it was like 1 o'clock that night. And so we were driving down the road, and we were all partying up on the bus, and the bus had pulled over somewhere. I have no idea where we were, just a random gas station in the middle of nowhere, and it was dark. And so we all kind of stumbled in and were buying stuff, and this person came up to me, and she was, not speaking English, and she was trying to get my attention, and I'm like, what is she doing? And then she handed me a handmade Mortillery keychain that obviously, like, we'd never made those. I don't know where. She must have made it herself or something. But it was so random. And she's like, you take it. And she gave it to me. And I was just like, holy crap. Like, in the middle of nowhere, this person, like, comes up to me and gives me like a handmade thing of my band. I was like, wow, like that is like the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. So that's probably like, I'll never forget that. That's probably the coolest story I have about touring.
What can you guys tell me about your instruments that you use? What brands do you use? Style of guitar, brand name of guitar, your mic, Cara, the company that makes it, and why do you like those instruments and tools you use?
Yeah, for guitar, I always like to use Dean's guitars. There's a good heavy sound. I've always played them, and line six amps, and then that's just kind of been my go-to forever.
Yeah, I use Shure microphones. I use a wireless mic. I really like that. I like the freedom of it sounds really good to me. And then I use Audio-Technica in-ear monitors. I've tried Shure as well. I like them both though. I like the sound of both those monitors. So that's what I use. John?
Yeah, I'm pretty simple. I like my Fender P basses and Ampeg SVTs. That's my main go-to.
Yeah, John's kind of a gear guru. He shows up with like a different head every time. He's got all this new gear all the time.
Like to keep them in rotation, yeah. The P basses, that it sits really well in the sound of the band without getting too muddy.
Okay, has any record label showed any interest in you guys and signing you to a record label? If they have, please tell us about it.
We haven't actually even reached out to any at all. Actually, I don't know. We're such a new band, and yeah, we just kind of threw the AP out there. We haven't, like a lot of bands send their albums and promo packs to all these labels, and we haven't done that yet at all. So we're just kind of riding the wave right now, like just kind of going with the flow. Like we're still so new. We haven't even played a show yet. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that.
We talked about this the other day offline, well, on Facebook anyway. We was talking about, I said, where's the rest of the songs? This is the EP. I know it's the EP and everything, but where's the rest of the songs? And one of you told me that you're currently already got songs written for a album.
Yeah, we have a lot of songs. Like I counted the other day. I think we have like 15 or 16 songs that are like written, and we're just jamming and kind of working with now. Like, so we have more than a full-length album worth of songs, new ones anyway.
Will any of these songs on the EP be on that first album full length?
We kind of talked about it. I'm not really sure, actually. Like we did think so. So Troy, like he wrote "Conquer with Vengeance" and NAITAKA. So, and then Cody wrote the other two that are on the EP. So if we did do something like that, like as a bonus track, I would say it would definitely be those two or one of those two to do kind of a re-record kind of thing. But I'm not sure. Yeah, we've started kind of talking about it, but we haven't really like fully had a huge discussion about it yet. But they're still like, and I don't even know if they fixed. We have so many new ones that we may not even have room for a couple bonus tracks on there.
Okay, what is your favorite parts about being in a band, and especially being in a thrash metal band? What's your favorite things about being in this band, NAITAKA?
Oh, first, jamming is just so much fun. Like just playing music, like writing something and then being able to play it with the band is just always a good time. I think it'll be best when we can start playing shows again. Then, you can kind of have a little more fun like that. But we, unfortunately with the whole pandemic and everything, we haven't been able to do that. But
please discuss how you
John?
interact and respond to the fans in social media so far with this new EP. What have the fans been saying on social media about the band?
Yeah, it seems like everyone's pretty stoked about it. It's been pretty well received so far. We've had, quite a few emails, and people, like, I've sent albums to France and Italy and some to the States and stuff. So it's been really good, actually. Especially for a band that hasn't played live. Like, it's been, I'm pretty surprised a little bit, just because usually a band has been playing and has kind of a fan base developed, and we didn't. So it's been really awesome, actually. I'm pretty stoked about it.
What is your thoughts on the music industry today here in 2021?
John, you want to take that one?
Oh yeah, things in the music industry, they're pretty wild. It's kind of a strange time, especially with all the business with COVID and the shutdowns and clubs and venues and stuff. Like, there's like, I think it's gonna be like, sorry guys, we're gonna see like, we're gonna see a bit of an upswing, I think, and we will see hopefully more bands coming out and getting into the scene.
Yeah, like we were kind of talking about that at Jam the other day. Yeah, just about like, when things do open up, it's going to be like opening the floodgates of bands wanting to play shows. Like, there's going to be like 5 shows every night of the week. It's going to be crazy, I think, like once this is all over with.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Please tell us where we can buy your music and give a plug on your websites.
Yeah, you can buy our music on Bandcamp. That's the main place to buy it. You could also send us a message on Facebook too. That's totally cool. And then it's on iTunes and Spotify as well. So yeah, pretty much all the platforms there.
Where do you see your band in the near future? Your goals to where you want to be as a band? What's next for NAITAKA?
Playing shows.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh man, like there's nothing that I want to do more than play shows right now. It's just like I'm needing it big time. I miss it so much. So yeah, as soon as we're able to, like that's it, like it's go time.
Please give shout outs to your fans and maybe some new fans to be. What would you like to say to them in closing? And is there anything else you'd like to talk about that you haven't been able to talk about yet, please?
Maybe just thanks a lot for listening to us and supporting us. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys like the EP, and hopefully we can get into the studio sometime in the near future and record this plethora of songs that we have now.
It's been an honor and a pleasure having you on tonight's show, J0KeR's Electric Circus here at Metal Messiah Radio. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule for doing this interview with us. Best of luck to you guys of the band NAITAKA in the near future. And you're more than welcome to come back on the show. Continue support to you guys. And you're welcome to come back on the show when you want to promote more music by NAITAKA in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
You're very welcome.